Hey, it's me, Vicky Maria. I think I put the wrong time on the stream. I think I put 11:45 p.m. instead of 11:45 a.m. But anyway, here I am. I just really wanted to come on instantly because I'm in the middle of classes. I've just got a little gap in between classes, and I just wanted to come on and talk about what is going on. What is going on in the UK today? The news that I've woke up to. Hi, Rini. How are you? How are you, Rini? Hope you're well. Yeah, what's going on in this news? So there's two very, well, I just can't get my head around these two things that are on the news today. So one is the little boy falling into the river in Leicester. And then in Bristol, 3 children have been found dead at home and the mother is suspected of murdering them. So what's going on? What is going on? So let's just have a look at this. This is a video that Leicester, a local news station in Leicester, made. Let's have a look at the scene yesterday evening. So this is in Leicester. It looks like they're at the bridge. I don't understand how this little boy's fallen in the river. Was he running? You know, I mean, we all know if we've had toddlers, everybody knows how difficult it can be. You know, you literally cannot leave them for a minute. You cannot take your eyes off them for a minute. Before you know it, they've run off, and, you know, they can run quick as well. How has this little boy fell in the river? And the other thing is the father, I think, was taken to hospital just for a checkup, just to see he was okay. So I don't know if that means the father jumped in after the little boy or the father jumped in with the little boy. Somebody said that he'd been arrested, but I haven't seen any confirmation that he's been arrested. This could just be a tragic accident. But apparently they were, you know, by the river yesterday evening. Let's have a look at the story. We put the story up. Yeah, really, what's going on? What is going on? Now, let me just, this is the other story, but I want to go back to the, let's see, this little, oh, it's not coming up on the, first of all, I want to tell you about the 2-year-old. Just trying to understand how he ended up getting in the river. They said he'd fallen in the river. That's how they described it. 2-year-old falls in the river, but of course we don't know all the details. So yeah, the search has resumed this morning for this missing 2-year-old. Let's go on to the BBC website. So yeah, in Leicester, major search for a 2-year-old boy who fell into the river. And this happened yesterday evening, round about 5 o'clock in the evening, which you think, you know, it's a funny time to be walking by the river, of course, unless it's lit up, I suppose, and they just were trying to, you know, go for a walk, tire him out before they put him to bed. So police said the boy was with his family when he fell into the river, Saw near Railstone. And just after 5 o'clock, emergency services attended the scene but were unable to locate him. So the operation did continue through the night, because I thought, oh, they couldn't call off that search because they, you know, they just couldn't. They've got to find him. They've just got to. And additional specialist teams arriving this morning. And then a man was taken to hospital following the incident as a precautionary measure. So whether, as I say, whether he jumped in after the little boy or jumped in with the little boy, I mean, just don't know. and the police have had offers of assistance from the public, but they've asked people not to attend because of rising water levels and safety risks. So that's one crazy thing going on in Leicester. And then the next thing that I see on the news, oh, where am I? Hi, Annie. Hi, say hello, folks. Yeah, so then the next thing that I see on the news is, I mean, this, I'm just speechless about this. A baby was among 3 children found dead by police in Bristol, and the police called the incident a tragedy, adding that post-mortems will now take place to establish the cause of death of the 3 children. And I think the mother has been arrested in this case. So this is Bristol, the other end of the country, really, from Leicester, I suppose. I'm not sure which, I presume it's this house with all the toys. Yeah, there's a policewoman there in the... How tragic. How absolutely tragic. And you know what? That's not nice for the police to have to go and find that scene. It's like the other thing that happened, you know, with the guy... Benjamin, that he'd phoned the police, hadn't he? We saw that he'd phoned the police concerned about his own mental state, saying he felt confused, etc. The police did not attend. And then later, his 2 children and his sister-in-law and himself were all found stabbed to death in a sort of murder-suicide, triple murder-suicide. Is this a mental health issue? Is mental health not being addressed? Because what would make a mother kill her 3 children? You know, what would make a mother do that? So a 10-month-old baby, oh dear me, was among 3 young children found dead in a deeply distressing incident in a Bristol home on Sunday. So police were called to Blaze Walk in the Sea Mills area of the city at 12:40 on Sunday after receiving a concern for welfare call. And the 3 children found at the property were a 10-month-old boy, a 3-year-old girl, and a boy aged 7. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And I know it shouldn't be worse, but it feels worse that it's the mother who's been arrested, because it's so unusual. So a 42-year-old woman has been arrested on suspicion of murder, and she remains in police custody at hospital in a non-life-threatening condition. It's very unusual. It's not unheard of, obviously, for a mother to kill her children, but it is probably the most unusual crime. So Chief Inspector Vix Hayward Mellon from Avon and Somerset Police said post-mortems will now take place to establish the children's cause of death, and they're likely to be completed by the end of this week. Formal identifications of the children are yet to be released. So she said that they're treating it as an isolated incident and there is no ongoing threat to the wider community. The death of such young children is a great shock to the whole community, and this incident has had a profound impact on us in the police. I just can't imagine what that's like to have to attend that scene as well. So she went on to say, we've been humbled by the community response to this tragedy, and at a time of great sadness and disbelief, we've seen spontaneous acts of care and support. So within hours of the incident occurring, here we go, another community that's got to, you know, what is going on? What is going on? I'm sure I'm not imagining that. We never used to have, I don't remember all these incidences of people murdering their children, etc. You know, it's just like, it does feel to me that this is something relatively new, but I suppose it just takes You have to investigate it, research it. I don't know if it is a new thing or not. Is it a mental health issue? Has this woman seen what happened? Do people copy things, copy events that they see on the news? If she was struggling with a mental health and then she saw what had happened, and she didn't kill herself, but if she saw what Benjamin did, and do people get ideas from seeing things on the news? So anyway, the local churches have been opened up for people to gather and mourn. This is what being in a community is all about. And we'd like to thank all those who continue to offer this important and selfless service. And she said detectives from the major crime investigation team, are in the early stages of what she called a highly sensitive, complex and thorough investigation. Here we go again. The Independent Office for Police Conduct has been alerted of this incident because there was prior police contact earlier this month. How many times are they going to refer themselves to the Independent Office of Police Conduct? How many times is this going to be necessary? So basically what they mean is this woman and these issues with these children, it was on their radar. Like Benjamin was on their radar. Benjamin, the guy who murdered his children, his sister-in-law, and then himself, had phoned the police himself that morning to ask for help and been told to contact a medical specialist. And within an hour, all those people were dead because the police had not attended. So here now we're finding with this case in Bristol, the same thing. There had been prior police contact. What can be done about this? Anyway, an IOPC spokesperson said earlier on Monday, we have requested a paper referral with further information about the prior contact. And once received, we will assess it to determine whether further action is required from us. Something's going wrong somewhere because honestly, I don't remember all this from before. It's mental health. I think it is mental health. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Annie. Yes, I think it is about mental health. It's not being dealt with properly. So, yeah, really. So they just said she was known out to the police. How many times is this going to happen and every time something like this happens, they refer it to the IOPC. And then they come back and say, we've learned lessons from this. And they haven't learned any lessons because then the next minute happens again. There's a real crisis of mental health, I think, in Britain, probably, all over the world in a way. And but resources are so stressed. And I think this as well, they've just changed, haven't they, the rules that the police are not allowed now to deal with mental health issues. This is something that's changed recently because I think that was because they were going out to so many mental health issues because there's no, I know a friend of mine had told me you wait a year and a half for an appointment with mental health services. You can wait. It's just not being dealt with properly. If that lady was already known to the police, this mother, what makes a mother stab? I presume it's stab. I don't know. I don't know the details. Let's see if I can find out any more details. This will not be an isolated incident, just like the other guy. This woman has just not woken up one morning with no clues, after no clues, no indication. She hasn't just got up on Sunday and murdered her children. That just, I don't believe that. There'll have been red flags. if they're saying there'd already been an incident with the police. Those children should not be left with someone who's dealing with mental health issues. The same with the other guy. I know they don't like to take them away from the family. Going into care is not a perfect solution, but it's better than that. So 3 children, a 10-month-old baby, a 3-year-old, and a 10-year-old, all dead. And from what I know, we don't know the full circumstances yet, but there had been an incident before. That's why the police have referred themselves to the IOPC, but it won't bring these children back. And this is a different area, so it must be endemic over Britain. It's not just in one particular area. We know in the Nicola Bulley case, they had to refer themselves to the IOPC because, if there's a death, like if within a certain time of the police being called out, they have to do that. So she's 42, the woman. So a local playgroup and primary school announced they were either going to close or delay opening today following the news. This is devastating to the community as well, and devastating for the police who had to attend and find that scene. I can't even imagine what that would have been like. So Bristol's Mayor, Marvin Rees, has described the incident as devastating. He said it's almost impossible to find the words to describe this afternoon's devastating news from Sea Mills, Bristol. And my thoughts are with those who knew these 3 young children. We will be working with schools, the community, Avon and Somerset Police to support people. Awful. But prior police contact. Now, I just want to see if there was a press conference. No, I can't find anything on there. Let's see. Just wondered if the police had given a press conference, there was any video we could watch, but it doesn't seem to be at the moment. So this is LBC News. Yeah, so I don't think anybody knows much more yet. Awful. The waiting list. No, I know, but really I agree. It's it's hard to feel sympathy to someone who's murdered her own children. But if she, look at that guy. You see, the guy who murdered his children. I couldn't help but feel some sympathy for him because he actually phoned the police for help. Mental health issues are so complex, and if there's no help out there, it's like if you had cancer. And you don't get any help, and you died, like people would. But mental health is just as bad as cancer. It's just as bad as cancer, except it can threaten other people as well. Though a lot of people who are dealing with mental health issues don't murder other people either. So, it's just we don't know the full story. I know, and some of my family, I know they were trying to get mental health services for one of their family. And luckily for them, they're in a financial position that in the end, they just had to go private because they'd waited so long and there was no sign of any appointment, no sign of any help. They luckily, as I say, for them, they're in a financial position that they could afford professional help. And that situation, it's not resolved. That mental health problems never resolve completely, do they? But it's like it's completely different now. It did work, the help that they sought worked. But if you're not in a position where you can get private care, private help for mental health issues, you know, I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, like you say, Wendy, about the family, but did the family, well, one, did the family even know? Not everybody has got a supportive family either, but also seems like she was known to the police. So maybe they did try, because that's not easy either. You know, you think you get someone sectioned, you know, for their own good or for the good of their children, like in this case. But, you know, just, you know, anyone, you know, and I do know from experience, when you're dealing with someone in your family who's got mental health issues, it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to get help. It's difficult because, especially if, I mean, she's 42 years old, this woman. So you can't, you know, she's not like a 16-year-old that you could, you know, act on their behalf or whatever. She's 42 years old. She's an adult. And even if she got sectioned, I think she could just discharge herself if she wanted to, unless there was, you know, some good reason to hold her. And unfortunately, often it's not until something actually happens like this that the police do take it seriously, or the health services or the ambulance, or they don't take it serious like everything else. They wait till something happens and then they take it seriously. But prevention is what helps in this case. You know, if you can provide good mental health services, so it never gets to this point. It should never get to this point of a mother murdering her 3 children. If you know, if mental health, there must be some mental health issues there. I don't believe, you know, like the same with the guy when he murdered his children. Sometimes I don't accept the mental health card, if you like, when people are trying to explain their actions, you know. But I think for events like this, where there's no premeditation, you know, it's just like she's just lost it, I would imagine. And it's awful. It's awful. But, you know, I know from other cases that I've looked at of not only women but men with mental health issues doing that, sometimes they just think they'll be better off out of it. You know, like you just can't understand the way their brain thinks. If your brain's not thinking that way, you just can't get yourself into the head of that person. Hi, Julie. But it's God. So going back to the other case that we're looking at. So now the little toddler that's gone into the river. Let's just see. You know, I'm just waiting with bated breath for this. You just hope and pray that they find him, but it just doesn't seem possible that he could survive a night. You know, a cold night in the winter. How could he survive that? Let's have a look if we can. You know, this, let's share this. Hang on. Still, yeah, no real update. So if he's been missing since Sunday evening, unless by some stroke of, you know, miracle, he's actually been washed up on the, you know, washed up onto the shore, it doesn't seem very, very promising, does it? So there was helicopter there. Just repeating, the man from the scene was taken to the hospital as a precautionary measure. Doesn't say anything about anyone being arrested, but somebody did make a comment that they thought he'd been arrested, but there's nothing about that. So, you know, just, you know, I've got rivers now. My God, rivers are creepy, I think, aren't they? You know, I don't look on them as beautiful anymore. I look on them as places where people die. I think we've got a video here maybe that we can watch. just it's not coming on, but anyway. So there they are, searching for a little, it looks quite full, doesn't it? Swollen, the river. So why would they have been? So it's a flooded river. So I'm not sure why they would have been walking there. Well, we just don't know. Maybe they didn't realise. Who knows? Let's have a look. I'll go to the 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. So if we start it at the beginning, their report. So their report started 5 hours ago. So officers said he was with his family when he entered the water, and they hadn't been able to find him by 10:30. Footage posted online shows police on a bridge near Riverside Drive, and a helicopter was also seen hovering above the scene using a searchlight to scan the area. The thing is, he'd be so tiny, bless him. So yeah, one person taken to hospital. They were asking people not to attend because of the water levels. And many residents of Leicestershire described the chaotic scenes around the city after a 2-year-old boy fell into the river. A resident said he saw people going down the River Soar with just their phone torchlights and called it reckless amid the warnings from police to not go in the river. A resident said, I've just went by on Middleton Street, people going down to the river with just their phone torches. Very silly and reckless. And that's it. And people shouldn't do things like that, because at the end of the day, the police are looking for this little boy. And every time somebody goes down there and puts themselves in danger, they just detract him from the search for the boy. So don't go. If you're there in Leicester, don't bloody go. Many residents have rallied around the family. Yeah, rally around the family, but maybe going off for cups of tea and things like that, but not just let the police get on with it. So then they did suspend the search at night and said they would resume in the morning. So it gets lighter earlier, doesn't it, in the UK? It doesn't get light till quite late here. So it looks like they were back out at about 20 to 6. Drones, helicopter. So there'll be a lot going on social media about it, because people will want to talk about it. The residents, it's traumatic to everyone, things like this happening. I presume somebody will be looking after the family. I just can't imagine what they're going through. How awful. Just I'm sure any of us that have got toddlers, had toddlers, we know what it's like. We've all had those moments where, with toddlers, you literally look away for 30 seconds or even a second, not even, look what happened to James Bulger. Toddlers, they run off so quick. You literally, and I think I was saying before in the previous video, remember you used to get those reins, that was a reason why people put reins on toddlers, because they're gone in a flash. They move so quick. Reins are a good idea as far as I'm concerned. When you want your child to learn to walk, I always say you spend all your time when they're a baby, you're trying to get them to walk, trying to get them to talk. And then as soon as they can walk and talk, you want them to sit down and shut up, because it's like, that's why it's called the terrible twos, because they're just full of this excitement of learning to walk and run and talk, and they think it's funny to hide, run away from you, and that could well be what has happened here. He could have just ran off in a few seconds. So I don't know Leicester at all. I've never been. I know some people from Leicester, but I've never been to Leicester, so I don't know anything about the geography of Leicester. I don't know Bristol either, where the mother has killed her children. But look, you can see how bloated, how flooded the banks are. So it does seem funny that they would have walked along the river, or did he fall off from the bridge? Because there was a bridge, wasn't there? That's a grim job for them as well, isn't it? A grim job. They want to find him, of course, but I mean, they'd prefer to find him alive. But that's, to be perfectly honest, it is not very likely and not very nice for them to find a drowned toddler. Anyway, I will keep you all updated. Hi, David. Hi, Chumba. Yeah, you never see rains anymore. They stopped. Yeah, I know they stopped. There was like everything else, big outcry about it, that it wasn't right to use rains. How is it not right to use rains? I tell you what, if my son ever blesses me with some grandchildren, first thing I'm going to buy is a set of rains for when they get to 2. Oh, Wendy Woo, your grandson. So they do sell them. So what brilliant idea to have them in the shape of a dinosaur. It's like, that's what toddlers do. My son has run away so many times. Once we were in a department store and he nearly went down the escalator, nearly fell down the escalator because he just literally ran off around the corner. And he was practically fell down the escalator. The escalator coming up, he nearly fell down it the other way. And then one time on the beach, he literally just disappeared. I was talking to my friend and I just turned around. He was just sat there next to me, making a sandcastle, sat literally, 12 inches from my side. And I turned around to my friend, said to him, it turned back round, he was gone, disappeared. The beach was packed. The beach was packed. I was searching for him for 30 minutes. And then finally, I just saw him in the distance. A lifeguard had him by the hand. He was crying. He was about 2 or 3 at the time. He was crying. And this lifeguard was just sort of walking him along the beach, to look for him, saying, is that your mum? Is that your mum? And I just saw him walking up, and it was like, so that was 30 minutes he'd disappeared for. It's like the longest 30 minutes of my life. It was like 30 years, because all the things that go through your head, I was thinking he could have drowned. I was thinking somebody could have taken it because the beach was so busy. It was in the summer, a lot of tourists. Somebody could have just taken him, put him in a car. Nobody would have taken any notice because it was so busy. All these things that go through your head. I'm wondering when's the time that you're supposed to phone the police. So it's like, look, I'm searching for him everywhere. And then you're thinking, I need to ring the police. And then I'm thinking, well, it's only been sort of 20 minutes. I need to look more. All that going through your head. And so the thought of these poor parents, like Jamie Bulger's mum, who went through that and he never turned up. I cannot even imagine how that feels, because just that 30 minutes that I had worrying about where he was enough, so then I never ever relaxed on the beach again after that. I mean, you can't take your toddler to the beach and think you're going to get a sunbathe, you cannot sit down for a minute. They're in the sea, they're going up to other people, this is what toddlers do. And the only time you get any rest is if you manage to get them off to sleep, in a tent or something, covered up from the sun. And my son, he would fall asleep after a while. Then you could just relax for a little bit. But then, like, you couldn't go in the sea, unless you had somebody else with you at the time. You couldn't go in the sea because you couldn't leave him there in the bed just in case somebody took him. Oh, dear me. Very sad. Very sad. Oh, so yeah, I can see there's quite a lot of you here, but I've got to go in a bit. I've got classes. I've got a little bit longer, but I know I will come back on when I can, to actually, anytime there's any news. I've got classes later, and then I've got a little gap again, and then classes again till 7 o'clock. But any time that I can come on with any. Oh, bye, Annie. You've got to go to work. I know this work gets in the way, doesn't it? Work gets in the way. Oh, you miss me. I should have just leave the stream on while I'm doing my classes. Oh, remember last time I did that during the Nicola Bully inquest, and we had a troll on there, didn't we? Oh dear. Oh. Yeah, I'd rather put my child or my now it'd be a grandchild if I ever lucky enough to get one. I'd rather have it on reins, whether it's like a little dog or not. It's safe. It's got to be safe. It's like that's why you put your dog on a lead. When you walk by a road or anywhere dangerous. Because you want them to be safe. Sometimes I feel bad with my dog on a lead because I know they love running around. But when you get to a safe place where they can run around, then you do let them run around. You can't just let them run off and run into the road or get attacked by another dog or whatever. So, it's just the same with children, in my opinion, especially toddlers, bless them, because toddlers are lovely, but, they're hard work, aren't they? They're exhausting. Anyway, I will be back later. And thank you anyway for being. Let's say prayers for this little boy. Unfortunately, it's too late for the children that the mother has murdered, and who knows what happened there. But we can only say prayers for their little souls. But this little boy, we can hope against hope that maybe, just maybe, he's been washed up on the side. But I know it's not. It's not very likely, but we have to hold out hope, don't we? We have to pray. But anyway, I'll see you all later. Have a good day. Yeah, I know. I keep telling him, David, he's got to leave the house first and actually go out and meet someone. Mind you, I need to go out of the house these days to meet someone. So I know that, he quite often does meet people every now and again, but they meet on the internet first of all. So they do it all by internet these days, David. But having a grandchild, that's one thing he can't do by internet. So he's actually got to. But anyway, I'd like one before I'm too old to look after it. There's no point in me giving me a grandchild when I'm like doddering around and I can't look after it. I want to look after it. Okay, bye. So I hope your God goes with you, and let's say some prayers for that little boy. Okay, bye. May your God go with you.